Welcome everybody. So I want to show you how to make a couple different sketchbook covers. But basically all the sketchbook covers that I do start with covering something with gesso. So this video is going to show you real quick how to use the gesso. So like this one I was using as a wipe off area, and you can do that, or you can just do what you need to do to clean off your brush. I just had excess and I knew I was going to make a couple extra, so I just went ahead and started that one. But really, it doesn't really matter what kind of brush you're using. I'm using a fan brush just because, I don't know, it seems like it gives a little bit more coverage more quickly, and this tends to be a quick process. The main thing that I have found that I prefer with the gesso when I'm doing this is I like to do 2 thinner coats as opposed to a really thick coat, because I feel like when you do the really thick coat, you can kind of see it gets really streaky, and I don't like the streakiness of it. I don't like that texture, depending on what I'm going to do. So I feel like, if I want to ultimately add on that texture, I could do that later. But if I want a really nice smooth surface, then a couple thinner coats works better than a couple thicker coats. And I like to work on both of them at the same time, so that way if I have, too much over here, I can always just bring it over here. And the thinner the coat, the quicker it dries. So if you do a nice thin coat like I was talking about, then you can get your 2 layers on pretty quick, and you can do the front and back pretty quick. Now you can clearly see I have a piece of paper that I'm working on top of, and as long as you have something, newspaper, paper, whatever, underneath your stuff, then it should be fine. Like, it's not gonna, stain the table or whatever if you have something underneath. But I'm just trying to do this pretty quick. I know my edges are a little bit funky, so I'm kind of adding on a little extra around the edges. And then for me personally, I like to kind of, once I get a little bit of coverage on there, I like to kind of push the paint in a direction. Like, I will do all the way across one direction, and then I'll do all the way across in the other direction. And I do this a couple times while it's starting to dry out, so that way and if you do it a little bit slower than what I'm doing, then you won't have as many problems of it, bumping into the one next to it. But I'm trying to make this quick. But even if it does bump into the one next to it, it's not even that big of a deal. And I don't really mind if I have gesso on my finger, because I can just wash my hand after. But I'll go back and forth, and then I'll make sure that both sides are done really nicely. And I usually just wipe off the extra gesso on my paintbrush. I just wipe it off on the corners. Now, if I did a thick one, or it's taking a while to dry and I need to move this somewhere, I'll take a couple of, lids, and I'll set these on the lids. That also lets me do the edge too, if I want to do the edge. But then I let it dry, and then I will flip it over and do the other side, and I do 2 coats on each side. All right, thanks everybody, have fun.